Raider Nation, what's going on? It's Mitchell Renz here, host of the Raiders Report. And coming up on today's show, are the Las Vegas Raiders interested in Ryan Tannehill? How did the Joe Milton meeting go with the Silver and Black? And what's the latest going on here around Michael Penix Jr. and Drake Maye? And shout out to David Zahn. We'll get wild here in just a minute on our live for all you that are watching. But on today's show, I really want to take a deep dive in a lot of these rumors that are circulating around the Silver and Black, around the Las Vegas Raiders, because there's going to continue to be a lot of conversation around the quarterback. And I saw a rumor late last night, and I was like, man, I get that part of my job here is to be able to discuss truth, not truth. People are going to put out a lot of stories. My job as a content creator is to give you my honest opinion on what I think certain situations are. I've been right before. I have been wrong before. But I am super, super confident in this one right here around the Raiders being interested in signing Ryan Tannehill. This one comes from Bleacher Report and Sports Illustrated. And I wanted to make this show to tell all of you it's not going to happen. Zero just win, babies. Tuck rule, tuck that. I said it on social media. The Easter Bunny has a better chance of signing a contract with the Raiders, which, funny enough, a lot of people are like, is that Jimmy Garoppolo on the Bunny Ranch? It's not. But you know what? Ryan Tannehill ain't going to be a Raider. And I know I saw the report, and the report was Tannehill could be an option for the Raiders. It was an article released by Bleacher Report. Sports Illustrated then made an article around it. And the entire reason why I'm sitting up here saying it's not going to happen is because, one, the Raiders signed Gardner Minshew this offseason to a 2-year, $25 million deal and gave him $15 million on top of that. The other reason is, I feel like a lot of people think that I don't like Aiden O'Connell, but why would you sign another veteran quarterback before the NFL draft when you have Aiden O'Connell and Gardner Minshew? If anything that I learned from this entire article is Bleacher Report just proved to me that they have absolutely positively no knowledge on the situation, and anybody that thinks that Ryan Tannehill is a legitimate shot for the Raiders before the draft, you're a fool. And I mean that in the nicest way possible. You're an absolute fool for thinking that Ryan Tannehill is an actual chance to be the Raiders quarterback. And one of the things that I love to do on this show, obviously, is interact with the nation. I love being able to hang out with all of y'all on a weekly basis. But, when you see some type of bullshit, you know what I mean? When you see something like Raiders could potentially sign Ryan Tannehill, am I the only one that I actually get angry about it? I'm like, that's just such a ridiculous thing to say. How could you ever actually be like, that's a good idea, I'm going to make a video on it, or I'm going to make an article on it? No, I got to make my video here now saying that the Raiders aren't going to go out and sign Ryan Tannehill because I had over 100 people last night say, Mitch, did you see the report here? Yes, I did see it. It's not going to happen. So if this angered you, I feel it. And I think that you could see that it angered me too. Hit that subscribe button. The reason why that it ticked me off so much is because I don't even understand in the world that Ryan Tannehill makes your team a better football team. If you would have told me, hey, Mitch, the Raiders are going to sign Ryan Tannehill before they signed Gardner Minshew, even then I would have been like, honestly, I don't really see it. Then again, I never thought that the Silver and Black would sign Gardner Minshew. But the only way, and I mean the only way the Raiders would even entertain this idea is if they came out of the 2024 NFL draft with actually nobody. And even in that world, I still don't think they signed Tannehill, who was really bad last season. I mean, he was. Sure, the Titans didn't have a lot of passing options. Derrick Henry was a little bit banged up. But, even in 2022, hasn't been all that good. 2021 wasn't all that good. So you're telling me you're going to sign a quarterback when you already signed Gardner Minshew, when you already have Aiden O'Connell, when everybody under the sun knows that you're going to target a quarterback in the draft, probably by the name of Jaden Daniels, and you're going to sit up here and tell me that the Raiders are interested in Ryan Tannehill? Bleacher Report, Sports Illustrated, I'm sorry, but y'all got to do better. Man, that's embarrassing. So out of the three quarterbacks that you see right here, who's the worst quarterback of the bunch? If you think Gardner's the worst one, give me a GM. If you think it's Aiden, I want to see some AOCs. If you think it's Ryan Tannehill, type RT down below. This is the pinned comment on today's show. After this YouTube ad break, I am going to give you my answer of who I think is the worst quarterback on this list. Part of the equation is I will say Gardner Minshew is the best quarterback on that list. I'm confident in that ability. But also, though, when you tie in money, because you're signing a quarterback like Ryan Tannehill to money, just like you signed a quarterback like Gardner Minshew for money. If we're going to talk about how good a QB is based on overall quarterback value, okay? Overall quarterback value, I actually think Ada might be the best bang for your buck out of that list. Then it's Gardner Minshew. And if a guy like, I don't know, Marcus Mariota's making $6 million, Sam Darnold's making $8 million, if Gardner Minshew, even him, right, 2 years, $25 million, if you're Ryan Tannehill, you're going to sit up there and go, I want $10 million a year. If the Las Vegas Raiders were to give Ryan Tannehill $10 million a year on top of giving Gardner Minshew the deal that they did, I would sit up here and say, honestly, you probably got to fire Antonio Pierce. You probably got to fire Tom Telesco because they clearly have no idea what the hell they're doing. Coming up next here on the show, we're going to get into the latest around Joe Milton. We're going to talk a little bit about some other quarterbacks on top of that actually have a chance of being a member of this team. But I got to give a shout out to today's sponsor, Game Time. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code ChatSports for $20 off your first purchase. Buying tickets to your favorite events, it shouldn't be stressful. Snag the tickets without the stress with Game Time. Game Time is the fast and easy way to buy tickets for all sports, music, comedy, and theater events near you. With killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seats, and their best price guaranteed, Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying tickets. Some of the things that I love about Game Time are those last-minute ticket deals. I love that you can see the views from all your seats. I also love the all-in price feature. I love that if I want to be able to travel somewhere, I can look up that city. Like, I can remember last year, I wish I would have done it. My dad and I, we were planning on going to Denver, and I was, like, reaching out to people like, hey, what are some fun things to do in Denver? I went on the Game Time app, and I was looking up some events to do. Jeremy and I, we went to a Drake concert. Jeremy earlier went to an Adele concert. I was just the other day looking up tickets to go to a Dallas Stars game, and what I love is, like, I don't know if I can commit to it now, but guess what? Saturday night, I'm sitting at home, and if I'm like, I don't got anything to do, events under $50 they have, like, Game Time is a game changer, and I want y'all to go check it out because I love going to events, not so much just because, like, are the Dallas Mavericks going to win? Are the Raiders going to win? Are the Golden Knights going to win? Like, those memories, I think, last forever. I mean, I always tell people, I can legitimately still remember the very first game my dad and I ever went to where Sammy Sosa hit a home run. The Mets, they did win 2-1. But, like, that's a memory that I legitimately think I will have for the rest of my life. You can't put a price tag on something like that. So if you want to go get a cheap ticket from Game Time on their last-minute ticket deals, like, you want to take your son, your daughter, your wife, you're looking for a fun thing to go out and do, like, there was I'm going to say 2 months ago, I took Alex to a Dallas Mavericks game. I got the tickets for, it was like $30 a pop. So all in all, let's say we spent $100 for that entire day, which I get it. But you spent $100 for the entire day, and we had a great date night. Like, in today's day and age, $100 for about 5 hours, 4 hours of entertainment, that stuff's unheard of. That's why I love Game Time. Go check it out. All right, let's go to the next rumor here on the show. The Las Vegas Raiders are interested in Tennessee quarterback Joe Milton. This one, I'm going to give 2 just win babies, and I am going to say that people are talking, and people should be talking about Joe Milton. When you look at him, everybody should say this guy's got a gigantic arm, and he can throw a football 80 yards. And he can, man. He's like Uncle Rico throwing the ball over those mountains. He's a good athlete. Now, I am a little bit concerned in his ability to actually throw the football like on an NFL basis, especially with accuracy, throwing people open. But, like, you have to admit that the Raiders are interested in him, right? I mean, the Raiders and the Patriots, they met with Milton before his pro day on Thursday. Milton has another pro visit with the Cleveland Browns on Tuesday next week. Remember, holiday weekend. And Antonio Pierce has said that he wants a quarterback that can run, can move, can beat you with his legs. I don't think that Milton is a franchise quarterback. I don't think that this is like your saving grace is putting a Band-Aid on it. But, like, if I wanted to take a chance on a guy, right? If I wanted to take a chance on a guy that I can get in the 6th round, 7th round, maybe AP wants to do that because they're totally different than Gardner, totally different than Aiden O'Connell. I mean, this is per Vincent Bonsignore on March 28th. AP shed some light on what he's looking for in his next quarterback, a damn runner. Like, Milton's not the runner that I think some people think he is. Like, I would say he's a much less version. He's like your Dollar General version of a Cam Newton style of quarterback, but he can still use his legs, and he's going to beat Aiden O'Connell in a foot race, and he's going to beat Gardner Minshew in a foot race. I can guarantee you that. Antonio Pierce also said this about, Jaden Daniels on one of the things that he likes about him and how much he talks about how much he loves that he can run. guess what? A lot of the qualities that you look for in a quarterback like Jaden, if you're trying to develop a guy, don't get me wrong, Joe Milton is not even close to the passer that Jaden is. But if you want to be able to find somebody that you can put in a power run system, maybe a little bit of RPO in there, and really rely on an Alexander Madison, a Zamir White to be able to get the rock running, like Milton could be a guy. He could also be an extra goal line back. I don't know what the situation is. Now, I am not afraid to sit up here and say that I'm not a Milton believer, and there's going to be some people out there that are going to disagree with me. That's totally fine, and the tape is going to show. I will admit, like, for Milton, he might be able to be a good fit on some other NFL teams out there. The other reason why I don't really want the Raiders to draft Milton is because he's a gigantic project to me. And no disrespect to Luke Getsy, no disrespect to Rich Scangarillo. Those are two hires that I did not like. In fact, out of all the hires that the Raiders have made this offseason, Rich Scangarillo and Luke Getsy were probably my least two favorite hires. So those are going to be the two people probably working the closest with Milton. If Milton, let's say, had all his athletic ability and he was a defensive player and he was able to work with Antonio Pierce, Patrick Graham, a Rob Leonard, and a lot of our defensive coaches that, let's face it, have proved themselves as being good teachers, being good coaches, I would say, all right, I can kind of wrap my mind around it. Because I don't believe in the Raiders' offensive coordinator, because I don't believe in the Raiders' quarterback coach, it's kind of hard to believe on a quarterback that I think is a project player in Joe Milton. So let me know down below. Should the Raiders draft Joe Milton? Give me a yes. Give me a no. Let me know what y'all are thinking. I've kind of already answered this one. Like, you want to take a flyer on Milton in the 7th round? I'm never going to nitpick a 7th round pick. Take high upside late there in the draft. But where I think he's going to end up going, because I think a lot of these other quarterbacks are going to go higher, I think Milton's going to end up going in the 5th round, in the 4th round. And that price tag for me personally is just a little bit too high to take a quarterback that his ceiling, running ceiling, is there. I don't see how he's possibly going to turn into a legit NFL quarterback. And it sucks to say it, but it is just my God-honest opinion. It's my God-honest truth. Let me know down below what y'all are thinking. Coming up next here on the show, let's get into some of the latest here around Michael Penix Jr. We're going to also talk a little bit about Drake Maye and kind of just get into more of some updates around some quarterbacks that had some pro days today. If you didn't pay attention to social media on Thursday, Michael Penix Jr. balled the F out at his pro day. I mean, I knew he was athletic, and Vegas has been pretty good about over-under times with quarterbacks. They projected him to be somewhere around like a 4.6.5. Dude ran a 4.53. Now, there was a report that came out that he ran a 4.46. That was an unofficial time. I would say you're looking at 4.53 to the 4.58 range is what he ended up running. He also had a 36.5-inch vertical jump, which for a QB is extremely impressive. So I know that he doesn't really get brought up as being a quarterback that can run. He is athletic. He can use his legs. He would be a better runner than Aiden. He'd be a better runner than Gardner Minshew. And this young man right here really, really helped his draft stock today. And I've been saying before, like, if I was the Raiders, could you potentially trade back up into the 1st round? I don't know if it's going to happen anymore for Michael Penix Jr. For Drake Maye, also based off of some of the conversations that I've seen on social media, Drake Maye is a hell of a quarterback and another prospect that's got extreme upside. Based off of a conversation I had today, though, I don't know if I'm going to put Maye on the Raiders draft board. Now, obviously, if he falls down really, really far, but I would say the Raiders have their eyes on 2, maybe 3 quarterbacks as it stands right now. Another player that's going to be having a top 30 visit with the Silver and Black is Jaylon Allen from Humboldt, Texas, at 6'3", 240 pounds, played for the Memphis Tigers last season. 41 tackles, 2 sacks, and a forced fumble. That's kind of the latest going on around the Raiders and everything that happened on Thursday. Now, I know when some of y'all watch this video, it's not going to be Thursday. And Jeremy and I, we had to switch up our schedule a little bit because, like I said before, I literally found out Tuesday night, or it might have been Wednesday, that I have off on Friday, so we're not going to be here. But we're still trying to get you guys a bunch of content. If anything does happen over Easter weekend, I'm going to be making a video from Alex's, my fiance's, parents' house. Chuck will be there. It'll be a little bit of a different look. The only way Jeremy and I are coming into the studio is if it's like monumental breaking news, like like the Raiders trade up for Jaden Danielson type of shit like that. If not, I'm like 2 hours away from the studio, so I'll just make a video at home. So if you want anything, news, updates, keep me up to date, hit that subscribe button so that way you don't miss a thing.